prohibits discrimination based on religion, race, color. You can see it there, national origin, age, sex, marital status, and it goes into sexual orientation, disability, gender identity, or expression. Further, we have laws like Title IX, Section 504, which Pam spoke about earlier, and we actually have board policies that help govern and protect the students who fall under these protected classes. Specifically, I listed the board policies there that we have adopted that helps to protect the students. So in our past surveys, we've been surveying for understanding bullying trends in our district well before I started here, and I started in 2018. We have historically asked the general gender, race, ethnicity, and grade level. And this year we expanded 2 categories, so the special education and IEP question to get at understanding the system around developmental disability, and then we expanded for secondary students only the gender identity category and added it orientation. And again, it's responsive to what the national data trends are showing. So for our process, an email goes out to parents and caregivers informing them of the survey and their ability to opt out. Parents and caregivers are given an opportunity to review the survey. The letter says that you're welcome to come in and meet with the principal and review the survey. Some parents were not able to come in and meet, so we sent them the link to be able to see it. There are also layers of opt-out. So the very first and biggest opt-out is you don't participate at all in the survey. The second layer is that within the question, there's always an opt-out of I prefer not to speak. So if a question presents to be uncomfortable for a student, they don't need to just ask for not to say. And some of our students did do that. And across the district, we had 29 opt-outs. So we had 29 students or families that expressed that they would not want to participate in the survey. We do know that there are some parents who may have not received notification, and we work to rectify that situation. We also know that moving forward to safeguard against that, the district will be the main communicator to all families of the survey to help prevent that potential oversight. And then we'll layer on additional communication with the building that's following up with that. And so, yeah, that's the process. And these are actually the links to the elementary survey and the secondary survey. You could go through and take it as a participant. We will see that if you do submit all the way, we'll note today's date that likely an adult took it. The questions are conditional. So the very first question after the demographic information that students see is, have you ever been bullied? And then they answer the frequency question. If they say I have not been, it takes them to the next question, which is, have you ever bullied someone else? And if they say no, the survey ends. If they answer yes, I have been bullied, then it takes them to, where has that happened? How often has that happened? Have you reported that? So it gives us data that we can respond to. And then if they say no to that, it'll take them to the second question. If they say yes there, then it keeps going down. So essentially, we're trying to understand where it's happening, how it's happening, the type of bullying that's happening, if it's in person, if it's cyber, and so on. That helps inform our response to the students or our lessons. So we are just in the phase of doing this now. We are looking at data outcomes and elementary teams to see their data at our last elementary instructional team. The data is being shared with each building. So our job is to identify trends, identify interventions that we might do, or cater lessons, change lessons specifically to ensure that we are meeting the needs of what the students are saying is happening. Some things that happen, so for example, often at the elementary level, bullying is happening on the playground, right? And so you've seen Mr. Brown share, for example, program he has brought to the playground, right? Or it's a hot spot for elementary kids. We know in the secondary world, the hallways and bathrooms are the hot spots, right? So it's like confirming with the data, is that true? And then what do we do? We increase, supervision obviously with the industry, but do we add more signs to report bullying in those areas? But essentially we want to teach kids not to just have standards instead of intervene. And then it's professional development for our staff. Our staff participate in annual professional development around bullying and the impacts of bullying on students and their mental health. And at the end of the day, it's also our responsibility to be completely responsive to the data. If our data shows that our student body isn't matching the national trend, we don't need to keep asking those questions. We may take a break for a couple years and come back to it and take another temperature check. But if our data is showing that our student body is matching those national trends and or, God forbid, impactors, then we have a responsibility to respond to every single student deserves to feel safe in our schools. And ultimately, this is about safety. So that's the overview on how we got to where we got to with the survey. What questions?
Yes, I have a couple of questions. The 29 opt-outs, is that opting out from the entire survey or just the demographics or a mixture of both?
Entire survey.
Part of the survey, perhaps a suggestion, I don't know. I just know there's a lot of students that don't feel comfortable coming forward. Could we possibly include a question asking if students have ever witnessed bullying themselves, instead of it either being they were being bullied or they were a bully to someone else? Just wondered if we could include the issue of a witness in school. And then finally, kind of just a general question. You said this is about safety, and I agree 100%. Now that we have this data, I guess what is the plan moving forward?
So the plan is to look at the data, and the elementary, for example, last week got their data from our bully prevention coordinator, and they started identifying where are the trends. So if our students said this is happening, okay, it's showing this bathroom, or it's on the playground. So it's creating lessons for either the FSL or social workers to go in and reiterate. We do have a bully prevention curriculum that we might revisit and say, okay, so then at the beginning of the year, do we need to actually go through it more frequently than just once a year? So it's really about taking action now and responding to our teams.
Comment that I feel like a lot of the feedback that I have received surrounding this is really boils down to the communication, because as you said, these questions were new to students, and many parents and students do not expect to see these questions on a bullying survey as they have in the past. And I really want to make sure that we're adhering to the people like that, allowing parenting to make informed decisions. So with that said, just throwing it out there as letting you know feedback, and maybe in the future, if there is going to be such change on a survey like this, that we make sure everybody is aware.
We agree. I think it's an area that we could improve. We have received feedback from a lot of parents who said, I completely agree with this information being here, but I would like to talk to my kid about it first. And so we do agree it's an area we can improve.
Moving into item 5, public comment. We have two this evening. We'll start with
Good evening. So, for you all, where I'm president of the teachers union and I'm on the committee that Mr. Calendar, that Brian is involved. I just wanted to come and talk about a couple of things. First of all, I want to compliment Dr. Milligan and Ms. Collins on the learning walks that they've been doing throughout the building, throughout the district. They're visiting classrooms, they're going to classrooms, they're getting firsthand experience about what's happening in the classroom. And I think that that's an awesome, awesome thing. I love to see it. The teachers have commented that they love to see them. I think it's a great way, feet on the ground, boots on the ground, are the people who are in the leadership position where they know what's going on in the classroom. So I want to commend them and encourage them to keep doing it because the teachers love having them as guests in the classroom. So I think that's awesome. So I want to for sure point that out. I want to talk quickly about the strategic planning process that we've been going through starting really at the beginning of the year and then the community involvement, staff involvement that we started to have in January and then recently a couple weeks ago. I think the process has been awesome. I want to commend the board for your involvement in the process, for being there when we have these community sessions, for participating at the tables with us and getting input. I know I had the pleasure the first time of being with Mike, as we did a walk with Ann and Mike Whitney as well. So it was great to be, sorry I didn't get to the board, but it was great to have a dialogue with the board in that type of setting to talk about where we're at in the district and where we're going. So I just want to commend Dr. Milligan again on the process that you have led and the board for being participants in that. Speaking of strategic planning, I want to just draw attention to one of the goals that was certainly in the plan that has to do with facilities and upgrades. And I just want to, I know I'm going to run short of time, encourage the board to be thinking, forward thinking with our future with regard to sinking fund and with bond issues to improve our facilities. I know that that's going to help free up dollars for education to put back in classrooms. We're not spending that on capital improvements, and our facilities are in serious need of some upgrade. Just so we're putting our students in the best possible learning environments that they can be in. So I encourage you as you continue to move forward in the future as to look at both the sinking fund and bond issues. Perfect timing. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak tonight.
Thank you. Next is Great Lake.
I had a number of questions, some of them answered already. The first thing I was really concerned with was, I didn't want to assume it was true because I've only got limited information, is this thing about whether or not you're asking third, fourth, and fifth graders about their gender identity. The other one was whether you're asking middle school kids whether they're heterosexual, gay or lesbian, bisexual. And this is on a survey about voting. I'm afraid I see no necessity to be asking these kinds of personal questions of kids to find out whether or not they're being voted. I'd also like to know, I'd like to see the rest of the survey. I'd like to know what instructions were given, if any, who approved the survey to be given to kids. Are there any plans to do more student surveys like this? I'd like somebody to explain to me why you have to know about somebody's sexual identity to find out if they're being voted. I just find that unnecessary.